Hello and welcome to this brand new video series in which I'll take you step by step on a journey through the Forma platform. This is Autodesk Forma from the ground up, and I'm Anne van den Borre, Technical Specialist Construction here at Autodesk. In this episode, we'll learn how to create a Forma hub and start our first project with a basic folder structure. So today we're not just creating a project, but we are setting up the foundations it lives in. Because in Forma, everything starts with a hub. But before moving over to the hub creation, let's talk about the hub itself. What is a hub actually? To explain what a hub is, think of it as your workspace. It's where your projects, your teams, and your standards all live, and it's somewhere in the cloud. You can have a hub per company, one per subsidiary, one per team or department, but more on that later. Creating the hub. So first things first, we are going to create our hub. I'll explain it in some basic steps. If you need more information, just look for Autodesk Forma hub creation on the internet. If you're starting from scratch with Forma, the first thing you'll need to do within your organization is setting up a Forma hub, so a project cloud. To do this, you'll need a Forma subscription. That can be a Forma Data Management Essentials or higher. Although you can still set up a hub, creating a few projects and test it thoroughly for 30 days free of charge with a trial version of Forma. That said, let's go. And it all starts from your Autodesk account where you normally manage your subscriptions like your Revit and AutoCAD. So we go to manage.autodesk.com and we log in. And from here, we will start creating our hub. So once we are in our Autodesk subscription account, we can go to products and we can look for our Forma subscriptions. When you have an activated trial for Forma, you will also find it here in your account, but it will be probably on the trials tab. So as you see, I have several subscriptions. In your case, it will most likely be a Forma Data Management or Data Management Essential subscription. Just select your Forma subscription and that will take us to our hub organization. Here we go. And in my case, I already have a hub. And I will be creating an additional hub together with you, which we will use for all upcoming sessions. Most important things here is the name of the hub. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it general. I'm going for ACS Benelux EU, as it will be a European hub. Next, I will be actually choosing the region, the location. It can be US, it can be EU or other, as you see in the list. This is where your data is stored and processed geographically. In most cases, this choice is driven by company policy or regulations such as GDPR, and sometimes by client requirements. I'm now selecting Europe, as I said. I already have an American one. And then at the bottom, we will be clicking Create Hub. Be sure to limit the number of hubs within a company. This only creates more work and confusion. It hinders standardization and leads to data silos as projects in different hubs don't talk easily. It does not always allow seamless cross-project workflows as you're basically splitting your company into separate islands. Okay, this said, on this next step, we can actually add additional admins if we want to, but also here, please keep the number of hub owners / hub admins limited. They can see everything in every project and they can also change everything. So your folders, members, roles, standards, all these. As a standard, just take 2 hub admins. That is a good guideline. This can also be updated, of course, later on if necessary. You can also do it from within your Forma hub. I'm now going to click Skip. The next step will bring us to the summary saying your hub is now created, and I can go to View All Hubs to see the 2 hubs I have created. When I click on Forma for my new hub, it will bring me to the new workspace. At the moment, this workspace is empty, only a sample project is available. So our next step will be creating our own project. I click Create Projects, and the project creation interface appears. I'll fill out the required fields marked with a red star. So I give my project a name, I give it a number, I can select the hub, and if I want to, I can also select the project type, the project address, time zone, start date, end date, etc. Now, regarding the project name, consistency here matters, especially when you have dozens of projects, so be sure to set a standard. When ready, I hit Create Project, and my project is created. Once my project has been created as a hub administrator, I immediately become a project administrator as well. Yeah, I can see it here on the screen. So top left in the drop-down list, I can see I'm a project administrator. Also, when I click on my name at the right side, I can see that I'm a project administrator as access level. I can also fill out my company. I can fill out the role if necessary. The access level, I just leave it here as project administrator. I will hand over this task later on to the real project administrator. But what is more important is here I will be able to select the Forma modules I want to use in this project. This will depend, of course, on your subscriptions. As you see, I have a full Forma license, so I have all modules active, but we will be deactivating a couple. As for our first session, we will stick to Forma data management. I can activate modules later in a later stage of the project as required. Right now, I've created my project, so I can go to data management. I've got my project, I've got my data management, but I still don't have a folder structure, and we're going to create that together as a next step. With the first project created, let's structure it properly from day one. Creating a folder is pretty straightforward. So at the end of project files, we see three dots. Let's click on it and select Add Subfolder. I create my first folder and I will name it 00_ project administration. The idea behind it is that I will store here project setup, maybe some meeting administration, maybe a project execution plan, some standardized information. As a second subfolder, I'm creating the 01 standards and references. Again, idea behind it, maybe I'll store here my BIM execution plan, some naming conventions, maybe a CAD BIM template, items as mentioned. Now, some tips here when creating folders. Don't go too deep in creating folder in folder. Too many folders make it harder to find information. Fortunately, Forma has an excellent search function, but we will see more on that later. A second tip is add a number as prefix, because by default, folders are stored alphabetically, which is not always practical. And we often prefer to organize our folders in chronological order as a project progresses. And adding a number before the name allows you to do just that. So the folder structure, in the end, it depends on the type of project and the type of collaboration. Are we working in a construction team, or is it more a traditional project approach? A good baseline for a building project is what I've created here. It's just an example. We will be able to save this folder structure in a template along with other basic project settings. This will allow a number of basic templates to be created for different departments and project types. Project templates promote standardization within organizations and projects, so it's definitely worth a try. I share here with you also the idea behind my project setup. The third column refers to the access rights that certain members and roles will be granted for these folders, and we will discuss roles and permission settings in more detail in a future session. And so now one final tip. If you're new to managing project information, it's definitely worth taking a look at the ISO 19650. This standard provides guidance on the organization and digitization of information relating to buildings and civil engineering works. In some countries, it is even mandatory for projects of a certain type and size. Additionally, it outlines the implementation of WIP shared and published zones as demonstrated in the example I provided. So that brings us to the end of this second session. Our time's up. Thank you and see you soon.